A few days ago, Counter-Strike 2 got a big update, and like a lot of Valve games, it pulled a bunch of new features from the company's other projects since they all use the same Source 2 engine. The last sync between CS2 and the core engine was in October of 2024, almost a year ago. So this new patch brought a ton of previously unknown info, parts of which we kinda saw in other games such as Dota 2 and Deadlock. This video is just a quick intro to a much deeper breakdown of everything we've discovered recently. There's a lot more to talk about, and we'll definitely have to do a follow-up video, but today we're going to talk about the biggest leaks, and I'll share some interesting rumors that haven't been talked about in public yet. And while you have time, check out SkinsMonkey. Use code GABEN and get up to a $5 bonus. Select a few of your current skins, pick a new one in the same price range and exchange your old and ugly CSGO items to something new and shiny from Counter-Strike 2. Use code GABEN and buy skins much cheaper with a 30 plus 5% top-up bonus. SkinsMonkey, links and my code down below. Let's start with the most obvious. The references to a project codenamed HLX, which is based on all the info and speculation expected to be Half-Life 3 continuing Gordon Freeman's story. The first line, HLX configurable lightweight body entity, refers to parameters for optimizing the behavior of physical objects and their interaction with the environment, primarily for performance improvements. For example, if an object isn't colliding with a player or other objects, the game can simplify its collision or calculations of its dynamic ragdoll. The second line, HLX configurable lightweight body collection, groups these objects together. For example, if there's a pile of bodies or debris on the ground and the player hasn't interacted with it for some time, the game can combine those objects and simplify their physics, which can really improve performance. Speaking of optimization, there's a new NPC collision system. Basically, these are dynamic hitboxes for non-playable characters. This means that on top of normal hitboxes, NPCs will physically interact with objects more realistically. You can knock them down, push, throw something, or run into them. This lines up with Valve hiring developers with Rockstar experience, where similar systems have been around since GTA 4. Just to be clear, this system is for alive characters, not dead ragdolls. If they fall, they might try to get back up and you can continue to push or shoot them down. It's noteworthy that we're also getting new mentions of density, elasticity, plasticity, and object deformation, properties we'll explore more in future videos. There are also fresh mentions of surfaces with different properties, whether they can burn, conduct electricity, reflect or absorb sound, or things like how long they burn, different types of fire sounds, the heat radius, ignition thresholds, and more. We'll talk more about this in upcoming videos too. Another big change is that the old AI sound system has been replaced with a new one called AI volumetric event. Instead of a single sound point, it's now a 3D volume, basically an area where events should happen and needs some sort of NPC's reaction. Along with that, Valve updated the description for the Thumper, a device that slams into the ground to scare the antlions. They used it a lot on the beach in Half-Life 2, and the new description clarifies that the Thumper is definitely related to HLX and not just a part of leftover content. This pretty much confirms the game will feature antlions alongside Thumpers and some sort of big open areas where these mechanics will be useful. There are also some interesting details about a complex wind system, including turbulence, gusts, and volumetric zones. Wind will affect things like grass, trees, and clothes. Speaking of that, there's also a reference to the rendering of foliage, debris, and grass tied directly to wind and physics systems. We also got more stuff related to fan systems. Now the airflow strength can impact objects and characters, which could lead to zones where players or props might get pushed around. That sounds especially interesting when you combine it with dynamic NPC collisions, which let fans physically toss characters around. There are more details about damage and destruction systems, now featuring references to individual body parts that can be destroyed, including head, chest, legs, arms, neck, stomach, and armor. The same goes for vehicles, with specific mentions of damage to the driver's side, passenger side, front, and rear. These vehicle updates are quite significant, but we'll save those for another video, cause it'll take too much time to discuss it today. In addition to the old crouch pose, there's a new state called crawl. It doesn't confirm that players can go fully prone or crawl, but paired with limb destruction and realistic collisions, it suggests an scenarios where a character might lose a leg and the only thing left is to crawl. Some new parameters for the dynamic hair system, which we talked about in previous videos and will talk about again soon, and Valve keeps working on improving graphical features like bloom, sun glare and dirt smudges on the player's screen. We're also seeing work on a highly detailed volumetric fog system that interacts with light sources, casts shadows and supports variable density, height and scattering, all in real time. And there are some precipitation updates that are probably related to rain, snow or even dust. These effects could reduce visibility and adapt to the environment. It's also worth noting that Valve is now taking the time to put comments and expand config files for dev tools. Usually this level of refactoring happens late in the production, when devs are trying to make things more user-friendly for clueless users and new employees. This could mean that we might get official modding tools either at the same time or shortly after the release. But now let's talk about the promised rumors. Just to be clear, these are rumors, it's not official information or something found in the files should be considered a speculation and might end up being false. But apparently Half-Life 3, known as HLX, is at a stage of the production where some parts of the project are already finished and being polished. When developers finish their tasks and aren't needed anymore, they usually hop into other teams and projects. I won't mention any specifics, but for example, you can say it might be roles like sound designers, composers, 3D artists and level designers. Sometimes this kind of rotation is a sign of upcoming cancellation, so literally people running away from a sinking ship. But based on what we've seen in Source 2 files, the new Half-Life game seems to be in good shape and doesn't look like it's getting shelved anytime soon. The second rumor is about advanced weapon ballistics. Almost all of the Valve games use a heat scan system, meaning the bullets don't actually exist and the gun fires an instant laser. But HLX might use realistic ballistics, where bullets or projectiles actually travel the distance with different velocities, power and even gravity affecting their trajectory. This matches what we saw in Deadlock, where only one hero, Robot Bebop, uses heat scan, while all the others rely on real projectile physics. So picture that, but with various gravity conditions. Again, this video is a small part of all the findings. You'll find my initial draft in the description, and the next video will be a breakdown of everything found related to Counter-Strike 2, followed by another deep dive into Half-Life 3. Leave a comment with croissant emoji if you've watched this